Film directors think in scenes, beat by beat, setup, conflict, resolution, aka beginning, middle, and end. But most AI tools hand you a prompt box and make you think in shots. One at a time, no context, no flow. Flora uses a node-based workflow that mirrors how filmmakers actually think. Your entire story visible at once, all of your tools in one place. Image generation, character consistency, video generation, upscaling, all within the same canvas. I just became a creative partner with Flora Fauna AI, which means I get to work alongside the company to provide feedback while helping them shape this tool. But partnership or not, this workflow feels like it was built by a filmmaker, not a tech company. So let me walk you through how it works and some of the tools you'd be most interested in getting started with. And together, we'll see what this platform is truly capable of. Let's get right into the video. So I'm using a tool called Flora. It's a node-based workflow, and pretty much this is how I begin a lot of my AI gen. I would say about 95% now, because I still do a lot of my video gens over at Kling, and then I also do some things at Midjourney. But again, 95% of the time, this is where I'm starting out. And if you're not currently using a node-based workflow, you're definitely going to want to watch this video from beginning to end, because node-based workflows are going to be the way to go in 2026. And to use this tool, you would go to florafauna.ai, or if you use my link below this video, that will also take you to Flora Fauna AI. And check this out. Not only can you get started with Flora for free, but they're going to give you 500 free credits to start. And because I am a creative partner with Flora, if you decide to sign up for the app after your free trial, if you use my link, you'll get 25% off your first full year. So how about that? Free credits and a 25% discount for an entire year. So again, if you want to help the channel out at no extra cost to you, use my partner link below this video and go ahead and check it out for free. Now, in terms of pricing, on the pro plan, it's literally $1 per credit, but you do have the option to buy additional credits. Now, for the middle tier, they have both a agency standard and an agency elite. One is $60, one is $120. And as you can see, they give you more credits on the higher tiers. And for that middle tier, they give you a bulk credit discount. So if you need to buy more credits, they're going to give you a discount on additional credits. And so now what we want to do is to actually go over to the app and show you some of the very first things to knock out to allow you to get started and have a much more streamlined process and not to waste a bunch of credits on accidental rolls, because that can happen, but I'm going to show you how to easily avoid that. Let's jump right into it. Now, one of the first things I recommend that you do is this. You see this little gear icon down here? Click this, and then you want to go to preferences, and I just want to show you this, but this is not the main thing I want to talk about. Here you can set your default model, and this can be helpful because it will help you avoid running a model that you weren't expecting if you were not paying attention. And that's why I'm going to direct your attention to this one. We go to settings right here, and right here you see a list of models that you can turn off. Now, the problem that I had been running into, I was just quickly testing things, not paying attention. If I was doing something with image editing, my default would end up being Nano Banana, and I'm talking about Nano Banana 1. As we all know, Nano Banana Pro is out. And again, I did this a couple of times, and I decided that, okay, if I know I'm not going to be using a model, why not go ahead and turn the damn thing off? So there's two ways of doing this. You can scroll through the list right here to find different models. For instance, the latest model for WAN is 2.6, although a lot of people do like WAN 2.2, but mostly using it via Comfy UI. But I'm going to do this. So I'm going to say Nano, and as you can see right here, Nano Banana pops up, and I don't want to accidentally select this going forward, so I'm going to turn it off. And all of these other ones look good to go. I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to say Seedream, and as you can see, it has these older models right here, and I actually already spent some time going through some of these and turning them off. So again, I only wanted Seedream 4.5 selected, and everything else is deselected. Same thing with ChatGPT. Their newest image model is GPT 5.1, so I want to make sure that I find the old GPT image model, and I'm going to turn that off right here, just like that. And again, you could do the same thing for Kling or Google Veo. This is again to just help you to avoid selecting models and not really paying attention and then running them thinking that you're getting one thing. It also helps cut down on the amount of models in the menu. So again, I highly recommend this is one of the first things that you do as you're getting set up with Flora. Let's continue on. So now that we've done that, we're going to do the following. We're going to click on New Project, and what you're going to get is a completely blank canvas like you see right here. In the middle here, they give you some quick start buttons. I'm not going to bother with them because honestly, I usually already have an idea of what I'm trying to do, but you're welcome to explore them as you're just getting started. But before we get too far, I do want to point out this sidebar right here, because as we go through this, you're going to see there are going to be a lot of widgets pop up here and there, but these are actually quite helpful. And let me show you how. So this button right here is where you can kick things off if you want to create a prompt, if you want to create an image, if you want to create a video, or if you want to upload. They've also got these little shortcut keys, but they're only active when this window is open. So if I were to highlight text and then I press T, it pops up on the canvas. But that's not usually how I like to get started, so I'm going to delete that. And what I like to do is to double click on the canvas and then select one of these, because for me it's just easier to double click as opposed to having to go over to the left menu all the time. But again, back to the left menu, we've got this button right here, which is your assets, and these are pretty much all of the images that you have uploaded to Flora, and they're not specific to one project. They're pretty much all your uploads to Flora, no matter where you've used them. You'll see right here we have saved blocks, and you can actually save individual nodes. I've not come across a use case for that just yet, but maybe you generated a certain style and you like the way it came out. You know, maybe you saved that block and used that as a style reference. Look, I just came up with a use case off the top of my head. How about that? And then with Unsplash, you have the option to find stock images, and probably 99% of the people watching this video, including myself, will have no use for stock images, but I guess it's great that they're there. You know, maybe you want to do a image to image off of this, or maybe you just want to use this style. Like, this actually looks pretty good. I like this style. So maybe you just use this image as a style reference, and then you select image and then use something like Nano Banana to transfer that to your AI generated image. This button shows your history within the project, and if you've not done anything in the project, of course there's not going to be any history. This one right here I've not explored yet, but maybe these are some presets of some things that you can do. Like this one says flat logo to 3D logo, so maybe these are just some preset workflows, because again it says 9 nodes. So let's just drop it on here and see what that looks like. Yeah, as I suspected. So they're giving you pre-made workflows, which is pretty awesome. And this is the Flora logo, so we'll get more into how to chain all of this stuff together, but here's a first look preview of some of the things you can do just getting started. With this right here, this is for styles, and I would say maybe these function as LoRa's. This one says cinematic, stream detailer, product markup, photorealistic. So these pretty much look like they function as LoRa's, so you may want to check that out. And I've not tried this one myself, but it looks like you can create character LoRa's, object LoRa's, aesthetics, and more. And if you want to learn more about this, they have a little button right there that you can click that'll walk you through it. This right here is comment, and I would say this is more a thing you would use if you were working with someone as a team. In the future, I'd like to see something like notes, because if you type something here and then you click this, it'll stay there, which, okay, I mean, that could serve as a note, but then it's like resolve comment. So again, if you think about maybe in the corporate world, if you work in corporate America like I do, if you're working with someone in Teams in the spreadsheet and you leave a comment for someone, and you know, once they respond, or maybe if they complete whatever it is you told them to do, then you can just say mark as completed, and then the comment goes away. So that's pretty much the same concept. And then finally, this button right here is the help button, and it'll take you to all of the help documentation, but you likely won't need it because you're going to watch this video from beginning to end. Let's continue on. Now, there are many ways to kick off a workflow in Flora, but I'm only going to cover the methods that are most relevant to AI filmmaking and what's going to be the use case for 99.9999% of the people wanting to do AI filmmaking. And for that, we're just going to go back to the basics, what pretty much all of us got started with prior to the image editing models like Nano Banana, and that is text to image. And simply all you'd want to do is double click on the canvas, and we're going to select image and bring this down here. And as you'll see, this box has popped up, and if you click this drop down arrow, you will see all of the models available to you for creating an image as of this video. You can see they have the popular model Z Image Turbo. They've also got Seedream 4.5, Nano Banana Pro, as well as the new GPT Image 1.5. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that my list of image models is a lot shorter. And again, that's because I went into my settings and turned off all of the older models, as well as any image models that I knew, in fact, that I would not be doing anything with. And again, it just helps me to find the model that I'm looking for a lot faster, and to avoid using credits on a model I did not intend to. And so while I've got this window open, I'm just going to select Seedream 4.5, which is excellent for cinematic images. And again, speaking of a cinematic image, in terms of aspect ratio, ratio, which you can find right here, our use case is going to be 16:9. Now you'll also notice two buttons that are the same ones, well, at least the styles button you can find on the sidebar over here. So again, if you didn't want to think too much about it and you wanted a cinematic look applied to your image output, then you'd select this right here. I tend to capture everything within my prompts, so I'm not going to use any LoRa's. And then you'll see this button right here that says type a prompt first. I believe this is to enhance your prompts, but I have my own AI agent that I trained on, and so therefore I don't want further tweaking to those prompts, so I'm not going to do anything with that. So rather than trying to just guess a prompt, I'm going to go over to Midjourney and use one of the prompts that I already have. And I like this image right here, and therefore I'm going to use this prompt. I'm going to copy it here. I'm back over in Flora, and I'm just going to paste that in just like that. And before I run this, there is something else that I want to call your attention to. Over here on the right hand side, these boxes are going to be very specific to the model that you're using. As you can see, we've got Seedream 4.5 selected right here. I guess you could always change the model over here as well, but I've not done any of that. But what's important is that you want to select the resolution for the image so that you can get a crisp and detailed image. And the reason you want to pay attention to this is because if you were using something like Nano Banana Pro, which I'll select right here, you'll see that it defaults to 1K. And I usually don't like the way those images turn out. I always have to remember to flip it to 2K or 4K. But the cool thing about that is if you duplicate this node, this box, those settings will carry over. So I'm going to go back to Seedream and I'm going to select 2K and we're going to run this image. But I do want to say one more other thing. I would highly recommend that when you're generating images to just stick with 2K, because another project that I worked on with Nano Banana, I had it set to 4K. I got the image exactly how I wanted it, exported the image, took it over the free pick because I just canceled free pick and I'm going to burn all the credits there before that subscription ends. And free pick told me that the image was just too big. The max I believe was 10 megabytes and the image that Nano Banana Pro gave me at 4K was about 19.5 to 20 megabytes. So those files can get very huge. So just keep that in mind. You do have the option to upscale within Flora and generate videos within Flora, but I still like to use my Topaz Photo AI that's on my desktop because it gives me further customization on the image resolution. So for instance, if I've generated something in 2K, I just want to maybe apply a little bit more upscaling to it, because if I were to take a 2K image and then upscale it to straight up 4K, then the file size would just end up being massive. So just FYI. So what I'm going to do is just hit the enter button, and this is the animation that you get to show that the image is actually generating. If you had nodes connected, you'd see the nodes with the lines running through them, which I'll show you later. Just some cool animation to give you an idea of how long your process would take. And this is the image that Seedream 4.5 generated. And to view this a bit bigger, you can do two things. You can, on a Mac, hold the command key and then scroll your mouse wheel. I'm using a magic trackpad to bring it up like this. Or you can click on the image and then again on the Mac, click Command F, which I think would be Control F on a PC. And then the image expands like this. Now I have given them some feedback to where I would like it if you could just double click on the image and then it opens up, just how like Spaces and Free Pick works. And that's the other cool thing about being a creative partner with some of these tools. We're actually helping them to make the tools even better with our suggestions. So that way, by the time it rolls out to the general audience, it's got all that stuff embedded in. Hopefully. Now, I do not love this image that Seedream generated. Again, many people have written off Midjourney, but literally, if we compare this image to the image that I got in Midjourney, I would have a preference for this image here. It just looks a lot more cinematic and it looks gorgeous. I mean, look at the color scheme. Look at the way her cape is flowing. It's got some of this fog. It's got some particles around her arms. This sword could be a lot better. And I just like the way the female character looks compared to what we got over here in Seedream, which looks a bit more cartoonish. Now, before we move on, I do want to say that this is not the best Seedream 4.5 can do. Obviously, I could tweak the prompt because I just noticed that I didn't have anything about photorealistic in this prompt. This was just something I was testing out with my AI agent and Midjourney, and 99% of the time, the same Midjourney prompts work with other models. But I say all that to say, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time in this video trying to tweak this until I get it just right. But what I also will say is the following. The great thing about a tool like Flora is that it it gives you the ability to test out multiple image generators with the same prompt just to give you an idea of how they all generate. And here's a perfect example of that. All of these boxes you see over here on the right hand side, like ignore these because these were video generations, but each of these were exactly what we just did. We put a box on the canvas, we gave it a prompt, and then we ran the generation to see what the image was going to turn out like. But you don't have to stop there. What I basically did was, when I generated this first image, the only thing I did was I clicked Command D on a Mac, and then that duplicates the box. Or again, you could right click and then click duplicate, works the same way. And the only thing I did was I went up here, selected a different model, and again the aspect ratio remains the same because you're duplicating the same type of box. And from there, let me just delete this right quick. I did this with Z Image Turbo, Nano Banana Pro, Imagen 4, Recraft V3, Flux 2 Max, GPT Image 1.5, Luma Photon, Wand 2.5, and Higgsville Soul. And let me say this is how you can call out these AI companies on their bullshit when they're dropping these new models. So rather than relying on trust me bro metrics, which is basically when they come out with this list of all the supposed improvements that their model does, you can do something like this, because I basically ranked these images from best to worst. And out of this batch, to me, Seedream 4.5 ended up being the best looking. I mean, it even got the hands right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, it just looks very aesthetically pleasing, and it just captured exactly what I was trying to go for with the prompt, which you can see, which is down here. And also in the box, this gives you your history of what you've tried on this box. So for instance, this I started with Imagen 4. And if you want to keep down confusion, for instance, like if you did most of the stuff with Seedream 4 on this box, then you can right click right here and click delete variant. So now you only have the Seedream 4.5 variants. And so I've got that one, I've got this one right here, and I've got this one right here, which is the one that I ended up settling on. And again, if you want to see a better look of that, just click Command F and you'll see your first iteration, your second iteration, your third iteration, or however many iterations you did on this particular node / box. And the absolute worst out of this bunch ended up being Higgsville Soul. I mean, it could still be usable if that's what you were going for, but my thing is, when you look at it from afar, it just looks like it may be distorted, but upon further inspection, it's not too bad. But I don't like these lights right here, and it definitely doesn't look like all the other images that I got right here, which captured exactly what I was going for. So maybe Wand 2.2 was the worst. Yeah, that just looks ridiculous. So I guess I'll switch the ordering around for my reference. I mean, and I guess there could be an argument between Higgsville versus Luma Photon, which I kind of like the aesthetic of the image itself, but I don't like the way the guy's face looks. But again, bird's eye view, you can get an idea of how your prompt functions on every single top generator on the market. This is game changing. But once again, in my opinion, Midjourney puts them all to shame. And it's a shame that Midjourney has not released an API, because it would be awesome to use Midjourney outside of Midjourney in your workflows, because that Midjourney aesthetic is just unbeatable. The second most common way to get started is to actually import an image that you already have. And this is for when you want to get into image editing or maybe style transfers. And I'll show you a bit of what I did with my initial testing. But again, to bring in an image that you already have, you can double click on the canvas and click upload, or again, you can do it right here from the sidebar. And so I'm just going to zoom out a bit, and I'm just going to show you this workflow and some of the things that I tested out. And I'm going to move this right here just so that it's a little bit more clear what's going on. Basically, what I wanted to do was take another Midjourney prompt because I liked the aesthetic and the outfit of the person in this image, but I did not want to use this image because myself personally, I can make much more attractive characters. I have a complete training on how to do this in the AI Cinematographer's Playbook, so if you've not had a chance to check out that course, then be sure to check the link below this video to find out more. And so what I did here was what we call image compositing. I took my main AI character and I took this image from Midjourney, and then I used a prompt that said refer to image 1, keep everything identical, and then I want you to give image 1 the same hairstyle and clothing from image 2. And the other cool thing is that so you don't get confused, you already can see what's going into this image box. It's the exact same images that we're referring to. Image 1, my AI character. Image 2, the image reference from Midjourney. And basically the way that you would connect these up is you do something like this. I'd always start with the main reference image so that when in my prompt I can just say image 1. I have also given feedback to the Flora team that it'd be great to have a feature like in FreePic Spaces where you can click the @ button just so the AI doesn't get confused. But it would basically be you do this and then you'd say @image 1, and this would highlight and know what you were talking about. That's what it does in FreePic. They currently don't have that in Flora, but they did take my feedback into consideration, which is great. But anyway, in your instance, you would just say refer to image 1, and then in your prompt at some point you'd also want to call out image 2, and you connect that up just like that, and now you see image 2 is now in there. And again, here's where you'd come and you'd select all of the various image editing models, and they do have Quinn Image Edit. Anyway, I'm going to delete that because I've already done some of this. And again, with that prompt for compositing these images, if I click right here, I can go full screen. Well, if something is broken right now, anytime I try to do full screen on this image, it gives me this right here. And this just started happening as I was recording. It is Christmas Day, so, maybe there's an issue and there's nobody around to look at it. But again, I'm just going to hold Command and F and just use my fingers on the magic trackpad to bring this closer. This is what I got with Seedream 4.5, and this is what I got with Nano Banana Pro. Now, the other thing I want to call out is notice that the body composition transfer didn't hold all that well. I would say it did a little bit better with Nano Banana Pro, but I did this about a couple of weeks ago, and I will say that pretty much all of the models now can lock onto body composition, even GPT 1.5, which is something I was not expecting. That completely blew my mind. I'll do a separate video on that. But another thing I'll say is make sure that you are using your AI like I talk about in the training, because as you can see here with this image, she generated with no shoes on. She's barefoot, but then in the one with Nano Banana Pro, the red shoes carried over from the reference image right here. So that worked out as expected. I'll also share with you another cool image compositing trick. So again, I like the aesthetic of this image that came from Midjourney, and I wanted to use this same aesthetic, which is a 1970s aesthetic, on other images. And so again, we're getting even further into style transfers without having to use something like Laura's that I showed you over here with this drop down menu. And basically I told the AI to analyze the dominant colors in the reference image and put them on a clean color palette and not to include the original photo. And I did this with Nano Banana Pro, and again, I connected this reference image to a brand new node or a box, which you would get if you double click on the canvas and just select image or just press the letter I on your keyboard. It gave me the dominant color palette from the reference image, and I took this a bit further by coming down here and connecting this new color palette to standard text to image generation nodes. And again, as you can see, the color palette is being referenced right here in all of these images, and that's why they all have the same aesthetic. Now, it is going to look a bit different depending on the image generator that you're using. This was Nano Banana Pro, this was Nano Banana Pro, this was Seedream 4.5, and this was Seedream 4.5. Now, before we move on to video, if you were fine with the image generations that you got and you didn't want to generate your video within Flora, you also have the option to upscale your images right within Flora using either Topaz Upscaler, or if you click this off of the now reference image and just put a new box out here, click image, you'll see that you get even more options, and they've got the Magnific Precision Upscaler in here as well as V2, as well as the Creative Upscale. And another thing that's pretty cool about their interface is they tell you how many credits it would cost you to perform the action, as well as the estimated time to complete it. So if we use the Magnific Precision Upscaler, it would take us 10 seconds. And as you can see, I use the Topaz Upscaler right here. It would take 106 credits in 10 seconds. They also have something else in here that's pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but they have Enhancer, and this is supposed to help with making your AI character's skin look more realistic. And it looks like the latest version is V4. So if I wanted to do something like that, I'd place this here. And this thing does use a lot of credits. Look, 374 credits, and it would take about a minute. So let me just do V1 because it's 134 credits and 32 seconds. I don't really want to wait around an entire minute. And I'm very curious why V3 is more expensive than V4. Screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and try V4. I'm going to hit enter. Let's see what happens. And so this is what I got, and I'm just going to zoom in on this. I don't know about this. I mean, I get it. It doesn't look too bad, but to me, it just looks like her face has just got pockmarks. I understand there's supposed to be blemishes to give a more realistic look, but if I'm not mistaken, it did kind of change the way this image originally looked. So I don't know about this. You can, however, change the strength of the enhancement, so you can lower it or you can increase it. Obviously, if you saw where it was, I think it was at 50%. I don't think I'd want to increase that more than that. And also, it was already defaulted to 4K, and it looks like you've got an option between 4K and 8K. So ultimately, you may end up with an image that's just very large. You'll just have to test it to see for yourself, but you do have that option, just FYI. Now we're going to move on to some video examples that I did, and basically I followed the exact same workflow that I've been showing you throughout this video, starting with a reference image and basically doing scene transfers to get this character inside of a scene that I wanted. I did the same thing where in this instance I actually did a screenshot of one of the styles in Midjourney, and then I did the color palette off of that, and from that, taking the color palette and the reference image, as you can see they're both present here, I got these various scenes. But the next step from that is to generate a video, and basically again from the image that you want to use, you would just do that, drag the node over to the left, click video, and you'd be able to select from all of the latest models like Kling 01, Kling 2.6. They've got Runway Gen 4. They don't have the newest Runway. They've got Veo 3.1, 3.1 fast. They've also got this Mary, which is Moon Valley, and I don't know if these guys are smoking crack or what. 2,000 credits to run this, and it takes 7 minutes. Even if it's the best model on the market, which I don't know because I haven't run it, I still don't want to waste 2,000 credits and spend 7 minutes waiting on something that may turn out to be absolute garbage. So I don't know what's up with these guys. I don't know what their game plan is for Moon Valley, especially when you can use something like Veo 3.1 fast or the full Veo 3.1, which only takes 4 minutes, even though it's more expensive, but it is a proven model. Most people have used it enough to know that you're likely going to get something very great out of it. They also have the new Seedance 1.5 Pro. So again, just go through here and scroll through all of the various video models and do the exact same thing that I showed you at the beginning of the video. All of the older models like Veo 3, Veo 2, I would just go ahead and turn those off. So I'm going to delete this because again, I've already done my videos. And once again, I did the same ranking order that I showed you earlier. I ran different video gen models off of the reference image that I wanted to use, which was this one right here from Nano Banana Pro. These were the ones I chose not to go with. And again, I just connected different video nodes just like that. But it looks like I did this in a different order because out of this batch, which is the one that I upscaled with Topaz Upscaler, Veo 3.1 fast was the winner. So I just want to make sure I don't confuse you with that. Like all of these, they turned out to be pretty good. Maybe not the Kling 2.6 Pro one because her face does change in this generation. But in terms of the movement and following the camera direction to do slow motion, they all pretty much did it. And if I remember, I'll show you how that video turned out. And again, if you wanted to do further edits to this video, then you'd just click on this node and you'd start a new block. You'd click video, and then you'll see you have Kling 01 Edit, 01 Reference, Runway Aleph, and some other ones I'm not familiar with, like Lucy Edit Pro. I am familiar with LTX2 Retake. I believe that's just something that came out recently. And you've got these other ones. Again, Moon Valley, I don't know what they're doing, but their models are just ridiculously expensive and they take the longest. And again, if you don't want to do any edits to the video, then you can use Topaz Upscaler, and I've not used the Bria Upscaler, but they cost pretty much exactly the same. And again, this isn't just restricted to videos you create within Flora. If you uploaded a video by, double clicking on the canvas and you clicked upload, and let's say this in fact was the video that you brought into Flora, then again, you could connect it to a new box and select the model to do what you need to do. Now in this video, we only just scratched the surface on some of the capabilities and things that you can do within Flora, but I did not want to turn this into an hour-long video, so be on the lookout for videos where I go much more in depth with how to use this amazing tool, because I truly believe that going forward in 2026, node-based workflows like this is going to be the way forward. So what are you guys' thoughts? What do you think about this Flora node-based workflow tool? Are you currently using a node-based workflow? And if not, do you plan to give Flora a shot? Let me know your comments below this video, and just as a reminder, if you use my link also below the video, not only are you going to get free credits, but if you do decide to upgrade and take a subscription from Flora, you'll get 25% off your first 12 months with the tool. So once again, if you want to help out the channel at no extra cost to you, then be sure to use our link and get started with Flora Fauna AI today. And if you're looking for a very straightforward way to create attractive characters for your AI video gens or image gens, and you don't want to spend a bunch of time learning how to string everything together in something like Comfy UI, I have the perfect workflow for that in the AI Cinematographer's Playbook. We're currently running a 15% off end of year sale. 15% discount is good until January 4th at midnight, 11:59 to be exact, Central Standard Time. And this will literally be one of the only times you'll be able to get this course for that cheap. So if that's also something of interest to you, if you've been looking at the course and haven't taken action on it just yet, then be sure to take us up on this offer before it expires. Link below the video. As always, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this tutorial, then be sure to hit that thumbs up button, and also be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you let YouTube know that you enjoy tutorials like this and want to be alerted to when we release the next one. Once again, my name is Paul Donis Maximus. Thanks for checking out this video. Please join me in the next one.